So we're going to give ourselves a nice even background. Here's the image of the scoop. And I'm going to go ahead and open it in RAW, even though it's a JPEG file. Because I want to, of course, auto-adjust any white balance. Because it's pretty much white on white, I want as much contrast as I can get. I want to be able to see the edge. And this image is super, super pixelated, so it was saved very small. And I'm just using it to show this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to increase my contrast. I'm going to increase my clarity. I want to be able to see the edges of the scoop. And like right here, it blends in with the backdrop. And it's super pixelated, so I can't really do anything with that. The reason I chose this one, let me increase the blacks too. The reason I chose this image to show is because it is one of the more difficult images because it's white on white. So the first thing I'm going to do is Control J and duplicate the layer because I'd like to work on a layer other than the background layer. This one, because again it's like pretty much white on white, selective color doesn't work very well. But to do that, because it will work on some of your other things, you can go Select, Color Range, and then you can click this color range. And if you notice, it highlights a lot of it for you. Problem is, it also highlights a lot of inside this scoop because this is the same, this scoop part is the same color as the background. You can see it's like exactly the same color. So that doesn't really work out so well for this one. So I'm going to deselect that. But that will work for other things. If you have two different colors, it works really, really well. You hit Select, Color Range. You can adjust the fuzziness. So like right here, it's going to give you more separation. You can make it fuzzier, so you know the lines are a little bit blurred. Okay, and then it highlights almost everything. So fuzziness is basically if they're really close to the same color, it's going to treat them all like it's the same color. Whereas if you don't make it very fuzzy, then it's going to make them distinctly different. So the shadow wouldn't be highlighted and what have you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is use this selection tool right here, quick selection tool. And I've got it set very small, medium hardness, and the spacing is only at 7% because I want it to be able to tell the difference in these lines. And you can see, like, even right here, it's the same color. So that makes it pretty tricky. So I'm just going to drag this along the edge, and I'm going to select that edge. And I like to stop ever so often so that if I over-select, I can hit Control Z and undo what I've done. If you just keep holding it down and doing it, then you can't do that. Like, it just starts you back over. So, I'm going to select this guy. Well, see that? It hit all that, so I'm going to hit Control Z. Get back to where I was. I'm doing little clicks now. Control Z. Right along the edge. Yep. All right, since it's wanting to get up in there, like it doesn't want to give me much more flexibility, I'm going to make sure this line is a little more distinct. To undo places that I've already hit, I hit Alt and then basically take it back off. So I want to get my line really clear. See, way better. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now brush over it with a color because it's modeled. These are spots over here on the lens when the picture was taken, or maybe even on the sensor. So that, of course, that's all going to have to be cleaned out. You can't just curve that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make it bright white. Like, exactly white. My brush, it's at 100%. Boom, that's white. Now I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to zoom on it. And, I'm sure the original, but since I'm working with a teeny tiny JPEG, I'm just going to roll with the pixelation being what it is. When you have a nice crisp edge, you don't have that problem. But you can see this is highlighting every single stair step of a pixel. And on a sharp image, you don't get that. So I'm going to Alt to take that back to the edge. Little clicks along. Now keep in mind, this is one of the most difficult ones because it's white on white. It has the least edge. When you have a decent edge, I hit Control Z to undo what just happened there. When you have a decent edge, this is not a problem, but I chose the most difficult one. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to go ahead and brush that background again, deselect that. I'm going to zoom on in. There we go. Way out. And I'm going to select just this scoop now. Whoop. Let me zoom on in there. There we go. And I'm going to select inverse. I just right clicked, select inverse. So now the scoop's not selected, everything else is. And I'm going to go back to my brush. I'm just going to paint all the rest of it. And I'm going to deselect. Now, you see there's a little bit of harsh edges and what have you. What I'm going to do is see how I'm on this layer over here. I'm going to click this, and it's going to create a mask. Notice it's white, that mask. So everywhere that I paint on with a black brush, it's going to expose it. And anywhere I paint on it with a white brush, it's going to put it back. So let's make my brush a lot smaller. And I'm going to increase the hardness of my brush a bit. It's at 100%. So see, I can take this back off right here at the edge. Now again, this, I'm taking my time, showing you different things. This is going to be the most difficult one. Again, because it's white on white and the pixelation. Give us a nice, clean and sharper edge. Just brushing that back into place. You shouldn't have to go through this with too many of them. Oversprayed a little bit, so I'm going to change it back to a white brush. Put that back on. Sweet deal. Anyway, you can keep playing with it. Get it just right. But basically there it is. And that, of course, that handle needs a little bit of work too. But you get the gist of it. I'll show you something else in a minute when you can actually select the whole thing pretty well. Now again, if this weren't pixelated, this would work out pretty well. Of course, Shift-Control-E to compress your layers, save it. You're done with that. Let's open up. If I can find it, where did I save? There we go. And open that in Camera Raw. Auto correct the white balance. Now we've got nice strong edges here. Again, it's saved in JPEG. It's a little pixelated. You can see that. So we're going to go with what we have here. Now, if I did select it, I'm going to hit Control-J to make myself another layer. If we did selective color on this, it's also going to grab the wording, the print, because it's the exact same color as the background. And that might actually work. If that's supposed to be white, that might work, but I kind of don't think it is. But you can hit Color Range, select this. There we go. And you could just increase your curves on something like that. So you brighten all that up. But it's getting any part of it. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to delete the curves layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this selection tool again. This should be way easier though. See those beautiful purple edges? Look, selected it so beautifully. Now for that, we could hit curves and just increase it on that. See that? Boom, super stark. So nice. Or you could use your brush tool and brush it. Completely up to you. And then of course, when you're done, you're going to want to compress the layers. Really super simple. I had a shoot recently where I wasn't thrilled with the pictures. In fact, it was this shoot right here because of the background. But I was able to take that background and a lot of the shadowing out by selecting it and then feathering the edges back into it. So if you have a soft edge like hair or things like that, there's a refine edge tool that will help soften those edges so it's not harsh lines. And so if you have something like that come up, hit me up again. I hope this was helpful. Let's see, I don't think there's anything else to go with that.